alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome once again to the Path You Take podcast, where the path you take is the path you make. Thank you again for tuning in once again in our bi-weekly podcast episode. Today I'm joined by a special guest. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you again for joining in. And I would ask you just to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself.
For sure. My name is Nematullah Fahim. I was born in Afghanistan. I was in Iran for a few years. And then I came to Canada. I've been in Canada for almost 33 years. Myself, I'm in business. I work in Habib market and South Surrey Halal meat shop. I'm here to talk about that. If you guys want to know about business or anything like that, I'm here to help.
MashaAllah. Now, you say you're in business and you've been here for 33 years. That's longer than I've been alive. So I want to ask, where did that kind of journey begin for you? So some people, they take a journey or, a career path into medicine, or they take into sciences or healthcare or, architecture, but then they find themselves in a totally opposite zone. My question is, was that the same case for you, or were you from the beginning kind of passionate and having the mindset towards having a career in business?
Well, for me, it goes back to my grandpa. My grandpa in Afghanistan, he was a businessman. He was a well-known businessman.
MashaAllah.
My father, my uncles, as you know, they're all in business, and it runs through my family. We love business and we love dealing with people. We love serving the community. We love
MashaAllah.
dealing with people, like socializing, talking to them, buy and sell, things like that. Is really runs through our family.
I guess you could say runs in the blood.
Yeah, of course.
MashaAllah. And so at what age did you find yourself saying, okay, this is it? And was that something like you kind of found support from your family, your parents, or were you kind of maybe pushed into like a different career path at a young age? I know, especially with parents from the Middle Eastern, ethnic groups, always, lawyer, dentist, doctor, engineer, that's it. Sometimes, you talk about, I want to go into entrepreneurship, but in some communities that's seen as something you shouldn't be doing, because there's high risk, there's high reward, where, if you go into healthcare, you guaranteed income, so on and so forth. So
you're completely right. In our community, if you look at most of people, they want their children to become doctors,
exactly,
nurses, go to hospital, work in a hospital, work in government jobs, because it's secure. Entrepreneurship, opening a business, it has a lot of risks. It has a lot of pros, lots of cons. And unfortunately, sometimes could lose everything. And that's the risk that parents don't want to take. For me, the way it happened for me, I always knew that I love business. Always knew I like dealing with people. Like some people are shy. They just want to sit in a corner, work in a warehouse and, or work in somewhere by themselves in an office. I wasn't like that. I always loved talking to people, dealing with people, buy and sell, try to move things around as much as I can. For me, always, when I look up to my grandpa, which is my role model, basically, is my grandpa. He started from zero. He had nothing. He was living in a tent with his brother. This is the story actually he told me.
Yeah.
He was living with his brother, and this is a long time ago. My grandpa passed away. May he rest in peace. He was telling me, him and his brother, they used to live in a tent.
Yeah.
They had to divide the tent in half. So they put a curtain in the middle of a tent so they have privacy.
Yeah.
So it was that bad. So he had a very small amount of money left over from his father. So what he did is like, what am I going to do? Am I going to go live in a village and just be a farmer, work for someone? Or am I going to do something with my life? So he made a decision at that time that he wants to go to business. So he started working with somebody else, and he was the accountant for that person.
Yeah.
He was an accountant. He was a very honest person. He always tried to do his best, and he worked very hard. Step by step, he started from zero, and then slowly he basically ran the whole business for that person. And since he was an honest person, that person eventually gave him a chance. He's like, okay, I'm going to bring this product. I'm going to give you a share, basically. I'm going to make you a partner.
Mm-hmm.
A small percentage. He's like, okay, thank you. Let's do it, and then that's how he started in business. From that little bit, and from his being an honest person, honesty and being loyal and all the qualities that one businessman should have.
Mm-hmm.
From those, he started going up. And in a short time, he become like he owned his own business and he become a businessman. And then he grew from there. And the people who are from Kandahar and they know his story, many people don't know him. And I don't think my uncles or my father ever talk about them, but this is a good opportunity to reminisce and talk about him,
MashaAllah.
to give him some respect. Coming from zero to become a multimillionaire in a country that, Shia people, they don't have much of an opportunity and they're minority and they always were under pressure. He made it to the top. He
MashaAllah.
became one of the richest guy in the city. And then his whole life, he tried to do good. Basically, he opened many masjids, many Hussainiyas. He helped a lot of people. He paid his zakat. He pays his homes always. So all those qualities, just when I look up to him and where he came from to where he made it, inspire me to one day I could do that. It's not for money. My purpose is not for money. I don't want to do business for money to become rich. There's so many things I could do to become rich. But looking at him and how much he did for his community inspired me. I'm like, I gotta do this. So there was that interest in my heart too. So that's why I did it.
MashaAllah. Sounds like your grandfather, God bless his soul, inshallah, was a man of strong integrity.
100%.
And that one thing that you saw, that characteristic in him, is kind of what you instill within yourself, especially when you kind of pursue business and you work within the business realm, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I asked him another question when I met him in 2015. I saw him for the last time when I went to Afghanistan, and I sat down and I talked to him. I asked him, um, "How did you become so successful?"
Yeah.
And he's like, what can I do to become successful? I want to become successful. Like my desire is not just money. I know money is a side effect of business, right?
Yeah.
I want to be successful. I want to be somebody that my kids could look up to me the way I look up to you. It's like he said in Farsi. He
Yeah.
said in Farsi, you have to have zarfiyat. Zarfiyat means you have to have the capacity to become rich. You have to have the capacity to become successful. If you have that, when you get that money, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at you and say, this guy could handle the money. He's not going to go show off. He's not going to go spend it on gambling or
Yeah.
negative things, have like bad things in his
Of
life.
course. Yeah.
If he could handle it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give it to you and you have to work hard also. So first of all, you have to have the capacity to be able to handle the money and power and success. Second of all, you have to have the hard work and focus. You have to focus. You have to work hard. And those are some of the things that you have to do, be honest. And these are the things he told me, and I followed those advice, and here I am,
MashaAllah.
my own boss at least.
There you go. I guess you asked for the right piece of advice and you
Yeah.
got it to you,
Of
MashaAllah.
course, of course. I always wanted to be my own boss, and always wanted to be fair to my associates too. So if I see a person being unfair to their associate, it really bothers me. I don't want to be that person, and I don't want anybody to be unfair to me. So I always wanted to be um, my own boss. That's business. That's what business
You know his business. Yeah.
being your own boss. You might be a small business owner, like have one or two employees. You're the only employee.
Yeah.
Or you could have a business owner that has over 500 employees. So whoever you are, at least you are your own boss, whatever type of business you have.
MashaAllah. I guess being your own boss also entails a lot of time and effort and energy. And sometimes, or if not most of the time, working longer hours than your employees and working harder than your employees, if I'm correct.
Yeah, of course. Especially at the beginning. At the beginning, I remember I used to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. When I got home, my wife and kids, they're all tired. They're all waiting for me to take them out. I still would take them out because they all waiting for
Of
me
course, yeah.
all day. So after 12 hours of work, I come home and they're waiting for me. So I'll take them out. Let's go shopping. Let's go to a restaurant. Let's go to the park. Let's do something so at least they have time. So it was super exhausting. But alhamdulillah, I did that when I was younger. At this age is much harder right now. So that was when I was in early 30s. So I was able to do that and I was able to work hard. And right now, at this situation that I am, I don't have to work as much, but I have to manage. I have to overlook the businesses that I have and make sure they run well and make sure we could expand.
MashaAllah. And as you said, I believe you opened a new location very recently.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, yes. The South Surrey Halal Meat Shop in White Rock.
Yeah.
And mashallah, a lot of people from our communities are supporting us. Mashallah,
MashaAllah.
we're doing well there. And inshallah, it continues and we could serve the community more and more places.
Inshallah. Um, I like how you said serve the community. That's one big thing. Because, put aside job security when parents are telling their kids, go into healthcare or engineering. Another point they put forth towards the children is like, hey, you're serving the community, you're helping people who are sick become well, so on and so forth. Now, being in business, you are also serving the community as well. Perhaps at not the exact same level as, curing somebody, but of course you're doing other things that you can do, correct?
In my opinion, you do more. Now, when a person works in a hospital, they help the community. Of course, always help they're part of bigger thing.
Yeah.
They're part of bigger thing. But in management, in the ownership, when you have many employees, first of all, you give them a job. You give these young generation jobs that they might not be able to get it somewhere else, and they might not be able to make that type of money somewhere else. As you know, if you're gonna make good money, you have to have like high education. You cannot just go to university for 2 years and
Yeah.
make a good type of money. But we have those type of opportunities in business that you know. If you look at the doctor, if a doctor work 7 days a week, they make 500 grand a year,
Yeah.
and that's maximum. But when you look at business, you see businessmen making billions of dollars. So now you see the sky is the limit for business. But doctor, employees, those type of things,
There's a cap. Yeah.
there's a cap. You cannot go high. You cannot work 8 days a week. You cannot do more than that. There are a lot of smart doctors that, once they make their money, invest it into business. And that's very smart of them. And that's what they
Yeah.
should do. They should invest back to community. And for myself, when I look at these young kids from Afghanistan, from Arabic countries, from Indian and Pakistani communities that work for me, they might not have the same opportunities somewhere else. So now they have the opportunities to work with me, and they're happy from the way I talk to them and the way they communicate with me. It seems like they're really happy. They want to stay, and those comes from being fair. And the best role model for that one is Imam Ali alayhi salam.
MashaAllah.
If you guys read the Nahjul Balagha and the way he talked to people regarding how to deal with people, how to deal with employees, how Imam Ali alayhi salam said, you can't be living in luxury and your employees don't have food to eat or they don't have a place to live. You have to be fair with them. So that's a good role model for all of us, and we gotta follow those rules that he put for us.
MashaAllah. I like how you point out that you're kind of getting a fair shot for everybody, especially people who don't have, perhaps the work experience that some others have, or maybe they just weren't ever given the opportunity to have their first job, for example, right? Or if they're, coming from abroad for the first time and perhaps language is a barrier, but you're able to offer them a job where, not only do they have a job, but they're also able to kind of fulfill their needs financially.
Of course, yeah. We need to help the community, especially the new people that come in, the new generation, young generation. Because if a guy working with me, they know, in the afternoon we put Quran. They go for their prayers on time. I told all my associates that anytime you want to, if I have some Sunni people working for me too, so I told them 5 times you could go and do your prayer. I have my Shia brothers working with me. I'm like, you have to go on time for your prayer, and you get paid for it. Whoever goes for their prayer, for their lunch, they get paid for it.
Yeah.
So this is something I do for my associates to take care of them, so they don't think, oh, I'm going to go for prayer, I'm going to go for Juma, I'm going to lose money. No, you guys go for prayer, go for Juma, go for your lunch. It's all paid. It's something I do for you.
MashaAllah.
Take care of you. So they might not have that opportunity. I used to be a manager at Home Depot for 7 years, and We had lunchtime and we had break time. You could not go 2 minutes up or 2 minutes
Yeah.
down. When it was a prayer time, you cannot go and do prayer.
There's no flexibility.
There's no
That
flexibility. Is everything has rules. You have to follow the rules. If you don't do it, your employees wouldn't do it, and then um, issues start to happen. But at my business, we have the full control. Whoever wants to go for prayer, they just have to communicate with the coworkers and then go for prayer.
mashallah. I like how you're kind of supporting them to take care of not only their faith, but also, their health as well, because sometimes people work jobs and maybe they might skip their break just because they know they're not getting paid for the 30 minutes or hour. And, maybe they need that extra 30 minutes of hour worth of pay. So they wouldn't take that lunch break. So now that they know that they have the peace of mind that, hey, I'm getting paid when I do my namaz, I'm getting paid when I eat my lunch, you're taking away that level of stress that they have in the back of their head.
Yes, and the working environment has to be very Islamic work environment. I give a lot of freedom to my associate. Also train them to realize be independent. I train them. You don't have to ask your manager what to do. You see something sitting there, you have to go do it yourself. And I train my managers, and my managers train their employees to work that way. Now, when the new guy comes in, they don't know. They standardize like, what's next? He said, no, you shouldn't do that. You should think for yourself.
Accountability, yeah.
You should go and look around, see what's left, what needs to be done. Don't ask anyone. You're a smart person. You are independent. You have to think for yourself. Go for it and get it done. And this way, things will get done. Everyone's happy and work is getting done. It's the right way to do it, in my opinion.
No, of course, that's a great way to put it. Because when you compare it to like big corporations, they penny pinch and perhaps training isn't the best training that they could offer. And oftentimes they want you to work as a robot. This is the rule book, A to Z, do this, don't do anything else. You need to do something else, talk to your manager, talk to a higher up. It's very same, you're living the same schedule every day. Whereas if you kind of teach them how to have accountability, you don't have to ask, do the right thing pretty much. And doing the right thing is oftentimes just right in front of you. Just so you know what to do. If it feels wrong, it's most probably wrong. If it feels right, it's most probably right.
And always ask my employees, what do you think to improve the business? What recommendation do you have? When you have more brains, you have more
Of course.
opportunities, more options, and they always give me idea. Oh, brother Nemat, what if we do this? What if we do that? I listen because we don't know everything, right? And sometimes if it makes sense, we will do it. If it doesn't make sense, it's like, no, brother, this is not the right thing to do. And by doing that, they become part of
Yeah.
the management team, part of the business. I want to train businessmen. I don't want to train employees. I told these guys, all of them, one day you should have your own business. When you have your own business, my mission is to make you a businessman, a business owner. And your mission should be to make me someone who distribute the product to the businesses. So we help each other grow. So this is the way we should help each other. I help you grow, you help me grow. And then this way, we all could be successful.
MashaAllah. That's how it's supposed to be. And we're supposed to support one another, push each other forward, and lift each other up, especially when, people need a helping hand.
Of course, yeah. It's a teamwork. At the same time, we need to grow. If you don't have a desire to succeed, if you don't have a desire to grow, you will go down.
Yep.
This is the way this world works, that way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this world. If you go flat, eventually you will go down. Your mission should be always going up. You should never, even if you go 1% up, it's better than going down or being flat. You have to try your best to go up, even if it's a little bit. I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about like improvement, knowledge, understanding, teamwork, all those type of.
MashaAllah. No, I do agree with that. There's many different quotes from the Ahlul Bayt. I can't remember one particular. I'm just going to paraphrase, it's better to live a better today than a worse tomorrow. So if you're living a tomorrow that was worse than today, then what are we living for exactly?
Exactly. We need to improve. That's part of our evolution to become better people. Like our today should be better than yesterday. And we could only challenge ourselves, who we are right now at this moment, and how could we make ourselves better. At the same time, you make yourself better, you make your business better, you make your employees better, you make your family better, you make your life better. and maybe you could help the community, and maybe you could help other countries too where you came from. So all these opportunities are in front of us. If we take care of that, if we think about it, eventually we get it done.
Inshallah. I like where this is going. This would be a good segue to get into, when we're talking about improvement, maybe talking business improvement wise. I want to ask you about marketing as well. How does that affect, business for you? Like, is marketing in terms of Instagram, TikTok, social media, advertisement, all that type of stuff? What does it look like for you in terms of improvement?
As you know, we live in a social media time right now.
Yeah.
Everything is about social media. Everything is online nowadays. So you have to advertise on social media. All the platforms that you have to go and try to advertise your business. Um, the more you do, the better it is for you. Um, you don't want to be a person that just focus on one social media platform.
Yeah.
You have to go on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Google, all of them. You have to advertise on all of them. And always you have to show people that you're beating the competition prices. You beat Walmart, you beat Costco. Like for myself,
Yeah.
I go to Costco, I go to Walmart, I see their prices. I don't compete with Muslim people, to be honest with you, because I don't want to beat my Muslim brother.
Yeah.
I want to beat Costco. I want to beat Walmart, Superstore. My mind, the way it works is like, how did they become so big? How did they become from a small business to a big business? And I look at them and I see, oh, they have good customer service. They have low prices. What can I do? I will have good customer service. I will have low prices.
Yeah.
For example, like I went to Walmart the other day. Their chicken breast was $8.99. In Habib Market, I'm selling it for $6.99. I went to Costco.
Yeah.
Costco was $7.18. I am selling chicken breast for $6.99. So I'm beating the prices. So I'm beating the big businesses' prices. And sometimes people say, how could you do that? How could you be the big business? They have big overhead.
Yeah.
As I work in Home Depot, Future Shop, when I worked there, I saw how much cost they have. And they work on 78% gross margin, while I work on 20% gross margin. The reason it works for me because we're a small business. And when you're a small business, you can work on the lower gross margin. But once you go to a big business, you have to raise your gross margin. And that comes through, buying better, or that could come through raising your price.
Yeah.
So when I look at, like, sometimes, Walmart or Costco beat me in certain things. I cannot compete with certain
Yeah.
things, especially products. For example, sometimes they might bring olive oil, and I see the olive oil, it was like $11.99 per 1 liter of extra virgin. Sometimes it's hard to beat that
Yeah.
price, But then sometimes I could get a container load, or I could get a skid load of sunflower oil for a very low price because you buy so much. And then you put very small gross margin on it and you sell it.
Something comparable. Yeah.
And now you beat the Costco and Walmart. For example, I give you an example. Right now, we're selling sunflower oil for $9.99 and the 5 liter for $15.99. In Costco right now, you could check 3 liter sunflower oil is $15.75. So I'm beating Costco on sunflower oil for almost $5.75 on 3 liter. So that tells you another thing that you have to do in business. You have to analyze the competition. How do you analyze the competition? You go to their stores, you go to their businesses, and you check the prices yourself, or you send your management to do it. And that's what I do. I go check every other businesses. I see the competition. I analyze it, and I see how I could beat them. And I said that I'm not going after the Muslim community. I'm not going after the Muslim stores because I don't want to beat them. They have to make the risk.
And I really appreciate that. That's something I really respect because I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's one of these things I've seen. Like, you see this, perhaps one Muslim market opens somewhere, they're doing good, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes away, another one opens up, competitor, and all of a sudden they're fighting for prices.
It happens.
It happens all the time, and I'm seeing it happen all the time. Even social media, it's like I'm scrolling, I see one guy selling something for $5.99. Now just scroll, now it's the next store selling it for $4.99. They're trying to like battle each other where you're
Then,
looking at,
then nobody makes.
no one makes money, but you're having perspective like everyone has to make money. I'm going over the big dogs, the people who actually have these huge corporations.
They could you could take a piece of their business because they have so much profit. Like when I was working at Home Depot, in 1 year they make $90 million profit. I'm not talking about sales.
That's a
$90
profit, yeah.
million profit in 1 year. At that time, I'm talking about 2007.
Yeah.
Right? This is long time. Right now is in
20 years in the
yeah, yeah, yeah. 20 years ago, they were making 90 million. And back then, 90 million was like so much money.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's in billions, 100%, because they expanded it. They have very good management. They have very good expansion rates in Home Depot. And they have very good customer service. I learned a lot when I was there. So I used those techniques when I was with the Future Shop, when I was with the Best Buy, when I was with Home Depot, when I was part of their management. I learned so much about their business and always try to learn. That comes for another thing for the young people. They should learn wherever you are, whether you work in a small business or a big business, anywhere you are, you have to learn. You don't walk like a robot. Even if they want to make you a robot, don't be a robot.
Yeah.
Try to fight back. Try to learn. And how you become not a robot is by learning, because robots, they do the same thing over repetitive. They don't change nothing.
Yeah.
You have to learn. Once you learn, then you improve yourself.
No, of course. And that's 100% correct. And we see that happen all the time, right? And the best thing you can do when you're working with management or just employees, take note of the things that they're doing that's working, and then take note of the things that don't work as opportunities, right? And also look at internally as well, not just in terms of, what's happening at work. Like, what are things that you're doing good at and you could excel at? And what are some opportunities that you could improve on, right?
Of course, yeah. It's part of our evolution to improve ourselves every day. Be better than yesterday.
No, of course. I agree 100%. Um, but I just want to ask one last thing before we kind of move forward. Is one last hard question.
No, of course.
Very difficult. Because I know we're cutting a little short on time. There's a program starting shortly, inshallah. We'd like to make it too. But
Inshallah, yeah.
There's a difficult question we ask everybody more towards type of the end of the podcast. And the question is, what is one piece of advice that you'd like to leave our viewers with? It could be a hadith, could be a verse from the Quran, or it could be, something family, such as your grandfather told you that kind of stuck with you and is instilled within you, and you'd like to share with the viewers that could, inshallah, help them pursue something in the future.
I said that many times. I always say that to my children too. To be better than yesterday. I said that a few times in our podcast, and that's something I would recommend to all the young generation or older. Even you are older, you could change and you become better. Don't think this is the final step for you. But especially for young people, you gotta be better than yesterday. Every day, if you are 1% better than yesterday, less than 1%, you're still improving. Learn, keep on learning, don't stop learning. And at the last moment on this earth, you have to learn. You have to learn new things and make yourself better. And that's what I recommend to everybody, especially my own children.
Couldn't say it better myself, mashallah. Thank you again, brother, for joining the podcast. And I've learned a lot from this conversation. Inshallah, hopefully we could have you for a part 2 somewhere in the future where we could expand on some other points. Thank you again to the viewers for tuning in. Inshallah, looking forward to having you guys tune in again within the next 2 weeks, inshallah. And if you yourself or someone you know would like to be joining into the podcast, do shoot us an email, link in the bio, and inshallah, our team will get in touch with you. Assalamu alaikum.